Bror Fredrik coming at you with another episode of Hey Bror Fredrik. On today's episode, I'm going to do a review of the Mayfair Supper Club at the Bellagio. I've been there a few times, just recently went with a couple of great friends, so I thought I'd give you my impressions of the whole experience. We're going to cover everything: the atmosphere, the best place to sit, dress code, and of course the food, the show, and my impressions again of the overall experience at the Mayfair Supper Club at the Bellagio. And we're going to get into all of that right after this. Welcome back. So here we go, the Mayfair Supper Club at the Bellagio. What you're watching right now is a video that I shot during a live a few months ago. Obviously, I couldn't take video to do for this review and get into all the specifics because this video that was a live did indeed get spanked by YT. So I'm going to let you watch this video. I'm going to flash food pictures, experience pictures, and everything else on the screen so you can feel like you were there with me. So let's get right into it. First of all, the atmosphere. What is the atmosphere at the Mayfair Supper Club? Well, it harkens back to the old school, I would say 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s kind of Ricky and Lucy experience where you're eating fine food, you're amongst friends, and you are enjoying a show at the same time. The show takes place during your dinner experience. Now, you'll have to go check their website. I'll put a link in the description for the different experiences that they do have. They have jazz shows, they have shows that are slightly more risque, but it's a full-blown supper club dining and show experience, and the atmosphere is very, very well done. It's a beautiful place. It's got a beautiful location, and all the architecture, the art design, everything about it just exudes that feeling of going back a little in time and experiencing a true supper club. And that's what the Mayfair is. It is a true supper club. So what I want to discuss next is the best place to sit. Now, it's up to you. The back of the Mayfair is open through obviously glass, is open to the Bellagio fountain. So you might say that would be the premium place to sit by the windows. That's where I sat with my friends. But there's also other views and other things that you do have to take into consideration when picking a table. If you sit at the table that myself and my friends sat at, which was right by the window, we got to enjoy both the show and the water fountain at the same exact time. The only thing that you have to take into consideration is that if you do take the seats by the fountain show at Lake Bellagio, I would say roughly 50% of the show, they're gonna have their back towards you. So that's something you gotta take. Not that that really distracts from the whole experience, but they are performing in the opposite direction towards the front of the establishment. So the other seating area, like you'll see in this video, is facing the actual stage. So in the video, you're seeing me face the actual stage, and the performers are more or less performing most of the show, if half or better of the show, facing that side. So if you do choose the experience on the outside where you're facing the fountains, know that they're gonna have their backs turned to you. That's not a bad thing, but they can't perform in two directions at once. So when you're making your arrangements where you want to sit, you have to choose. Do you want them facing you, or do you want the experience of both the show and the fountains? On this trip, we did the show and the fountains. And the other thing about the show that you should know is They interact with the audience in between acts, during the acts. All the performers, the singers, the dancers, they do go from table to table, say hello, you're enjoying the show. They interact very, very well with the audience. So it's an interactive experience. You'll get to meet all the people in the show, which I think is awesome too. Now, dress code. What is the dress code at the Mayfair Supper Club? Ladies, you know how to dress. You put on your heels, you put on your flats, whatever you got your beautiful dresses on, your cocktail dresses. You ladies know how to dress appropriately when you go out. So I don't think it's a big issue that you have to think about. It's not a place for tights. It's not a place for yoga pants or anything like that. You put on a dress, you are gold. Fellas, what you need to know is they do require collared shirts. There is, according to their own website and the notes on the door, there's no sneakers and there are no shorts. So it's a place where you're going to dress at the bare minimum, business casual or above. Now, I've seen the new trend where gentlemen are wearing suits with sneakers, matching, nice. Okay, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I don't think they're going to say anything about that, but it's not a t-shirt and shorts type of place. I don't know if anyone ever got kicked out for not dressing appropriately, but they do have a dress code. So look good. You're at the Mayfair Supper Club. You're having a good time. You're spending your bucks. You're enjoying the show. So go get dressed up a little. Okay, so let's get right into the food. What you need to know about the food is it's all good. You're not going to make a mistake by ordering anything. Not one thing is exceptionally better than the next. All the food there is good. So it comes down to the personal choice of what do you like to eat. I'm going to flash the menu up on the screen right now. You can pause it if you want and go through it all. The prices you'll see are on par with other high-end restaurants in certain areas, just perhaps a little less, in other areas perhaps a little more. What I will say about the food is the portions are not as big as some of the other places in town, and you'll see that on the plate. My prime rib that I ordered was hand carved at a station, table side, and I would say it was about 1/2 to 5/8 of an inch thick, and you compare that to the steakhouse over at Circus, and that was about 1.5 inches thick, and it was about the same price. So the portions are a little smaller. Not saying you gotta go and hit McDonald's before or after. You'll still get, the quantity of food that you're expecting, but the portions are a little smaller. That you need to know. But in terms of the food, it was absolutely fantastic. As I said, I had the prime rib, and I also had heritage tomatoes as a side dish, and they were fantastic. I'm not a big fan of the green tomatoes because they're a little harder, a little chewier, but it was big heritage tomato slices, as you can see in the image. I'm probably popping up right about now, and they covered it with a relish that I could have sat there and ate an entire bowl of. It was, it had olive oil, it had balsamic vinegar, probably the sweetest balsamic vinegar I've ever experienced in my entire life. It still had the tang and the twang, and it was just mouth-watering, but it was also sweet at the same time and savory. So it was a bit of a tomato relish. It was absolutely incredible, and just the right amount of basil in there. And also the coconut shrimp, which was actually served in a coconut with a dipping sauce. That was fantastic. And they were large. I think, I'm not sure what the picture shows, but I think there was 3, 4, I don't think there was 5. I think there was 4 shrimp in there. Everyone at that table ordered something different, so I got to do a little tasting. There was a creamy spinach dish that was absolutely amazing. I'm not sure exactly how they did it, but it was cheesy, it was creamy, it was It was done to perfection. It wasn't exactly mush, but it was smooth. It was absolutely amazing. There was a risotto there. Fantastic. The New York strip, absolutely fantastic. And someone at the table also ordered chicken. There was a half chicken there, and it was cooked through perfectly without being dried out. The food there is absolutely phenomenal. As far as drinks go, I ordered an old fashioned, and for me that is that's my go-to during dinner, because it's sweet enough, it's enough of a palate cleanser to really set off a meal just right, and it's also a standard by which I judge certain restaurants by. I judge a restaurant or an eatery by their old fashions. There's either horrible old fashions or absolutely amazing old fashions. Bavette's over at Park MGM, I would say that is their signature cocktail, an old fashioned, and I would say this old fashioned was on par. Definitely on par. It was good, it was smooth, there was enough alcohol in it, the quantity was right, it wasn't 1,000 ice cubes in there. It was nice. It set the meal off perfectly. A friend of mine also at the table had a what was called a lollipop, which is champagne with cotton candy. Very, very good drinks there too. As far as the show goes, the show is absolutely phenomenal. As I said, go to their website, find out the different times for the different flavors of shows. They do jazz, they do kind of pop jazz, and they also do an after dark, a little more risque type of show, so bear that in mind. They also recommend during the jazz type shows and the other shows, it has to be, if you're bringing kids, it has to be 12 and up, and if you go into the after dark, the more risque shows, you do have to be 21 to get in there. And as I said before, the shows are interactive. In between sets they come around, I think I met every single person in that place. Every act, I wouldn't call them actors, every performer, all the musicians, the dancers, everyone took the time, not just once, but multiple times to visit the tables. And I thought that was awesome. And I thought that was, it tied the audience into the experience and made the experience that much better. The singing was excellent. The voices, the production value of the show, absolutely great. The dancers, highly, highly skilled. The performances themselves were fantastic. Like I said, depending on where you sit, they'll be performing most of the show towards you, or you might be seeing their backs in certain cases if you have the fountain view. Again, keep that in mind. But that doesn't distract from the overall experience. The only thing I can say about the show that you might need to know is, if you volunteer, if you get called up from the audience, be prepared and open-minded. In this specific show, what they did was they asked for a volunteer, happened to be a gentleman. He got called up onto stage, and they started the show by sitting him in a chair. This portion of the show, they sat him in a chair, and the ladies danced around him and kind of got him warmed up, and, flirtatious moves and a little bit of seduction involved. And they played with a little cake and put it on his nose and all this other stuff. And then they blindfolded him and slid him across the stage, and they pulled a switcheroo on him. The ladies went away, and they brought out the male dancers, and the male dancers took over the seduction and the intimacy and the risque part of the show. And then they pulled the blindfold off them to show that it was guys instead of the females that started. Whatever your opinion of that is, that's your opinion. But all I'm saying is that if you participate in the show, if they call you up on stage, expect anything. You know, that's something you do need to be aware of. I wasn't exactly prepared for that, but I wasn't me up on the stage, so more power to them. Entertaining nonetheless. The show was good, the performance was good, the dancers were good, and you've been watching the pictures, seeing the pictures that I'm posting right now all over the video. Good times. The show combined with the dinner was an excellent experience. Okay, so what was my overall experience at the Mayfair Supper Club? This time I loved it. Last time I loved it. The time before that I loved it. It is just a great experience. Now, in terms of how much it's approximately going to cost for a dinner and a show over there, I would reserve I think at the minimum you should expect $150 per person with drinks, so bear that in mind. It's not, Fat Tuesdays, so you're gonna go, between $150 to $200 per person, so be prepared for that. Again, I told you where the best place to sit is, but the overall experience is great. The food is great. The show is great. The entertainers are great. The ambiance, the music, everything about it is fantastic. You will not be disappointed going to the Mayfair Supper Club whatsoever. And I also have to speak on the staff. The staff is fabulous. The waiters, the hosts, everyone, very attentive to your needs. I had asked for a few very specific things to be done with my food, and they were done without question. We would check back with, is everything good? The experience that you can expect from wait staff, from management, and from employees at any high-end place, you definitely get it here. You would feel almost bonded with the people that surround you by the end of this evening. The evening was fantastic. I highly recommend. So this is going to be it. The Bror Fredrik. What am I going to give them? I'm going to give them 2 thumbs up. The Mayfair Supper Club at the Bellagio. You do have to make reservations. No ifs, ands, or buts. Check the website for the different shows and pick the one that suits you, either the jazz style or the more risque style. That's up to you, but the experience is fabulous. I've said that 10 times. I'll say it one more time. Fabulous. So I want to thank you for joining me for this review of the Mayfair Supper Club at the Bellagio. I had fun, and I know you will too. Drop in the comments your experiences at the Mayfair Supper Club if you have been there or plan on going there, and let me know how it went for you. And I'm sure it went well, but let everyone else know too. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do that with Patreon, get a channel membership, or click on any links in the description below, especially my channel partner, which is Olight. Use my coupon code and the link in the description to save yourself 10% off the best EDC carry gear and flashlights known to man. And on that note, Bror Fredrik out.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.